All right, so strap yourselves in, folks. We are diving deep, deep into Frank Herbert's Dune Messiah today.
You might think you know this book,
Oh, I bet a lot of listeners think, yeah, I've seen the movie. I kind of get it.
but there's so much more going on beneath the surface.
Exactly. Like we're going way beyond just, oh, Paul Atreides is this prescient super being who takes over Arrakis. This is about what happens after.
What happens when the hero becomes the emperor?
Exactly. The consequences of that power. And 12 years in, let me tell you, things are not looking peachy for our boy Paul.
Oh, not at all. Dune Messiah really flips the script on the whole classic hero's journey we saw in Dune.
Right. Like in the first book, it's all about Paul rising to power, defeating the bad guys, becoming this almost mythical figure.
Yeah, and you can see in Brian Herbert's introduction to Dune Messiah that a lot of readers back then were kind of disappointed.
They wanted more of that.
Yeah.
More Muad'Dib kicking butt, right?
Exactly. But Herbert goes in a totally different direction. He's not interested in giving us a simple sequel. He wants to challenge us.
Yeah, to think about what happens after the revolution, after the hero wins. What happens when that power starts to corrupt?
Precisely. And that's where this concept of the fool saint comes in. Paul is worshipped as a god, right?
The Fremen practically see him as their messiah.
Exactly. But he's miserable. He's trapped by his prescience.
Like that haunting line, I think it's near the beginning, where he says he never wanted to be a god. He just wanted to disappear like a dewdrop in the morning.
He can see the future, but he's powerless to change it.
He's basically a slave to his own destiny.
And then you have the Bene Gesserit lurking in the background.
Oh, those scheming space witches. Never underestimate them.
They spent generations breeding for their Kwisatz Haderach, thinking they could control him.
And then Paul comes along and blows their plans right out of the water.
He's far more powerful than they ever imagined.
And they don't like that one bit.
No, they don't. Which is why I find the character of Bronso of Ike so interesting.
The historian. The one who got imprisoned.
Yeah. He's the one who dares to expose the Bene Gesserit's manipulations.
And pays the price for it.
He basically says, hey, everyone, Muad'Dib wasn't always your prophet. He was the Bene Gesserit's puppet first.
Talk about spilling the tea.
Right. Like he's pulling back the curtain and showing us the puppeteers behind the scenes.
So it makes you wonder, is there even such a thing as free will in this universe?
That's a question Herbert is constantly wrestling with.
Yeah, because if Paul's path is predetermined, can you really blame him for the choices he makes?
Is he a villain or just a pawn in a much larger game?
And then you have his marriage to Princess Irulan. Talk about a power move.
It's not about love, that's for sure. It's pure politics.
The Bene Gesserit trying to maintain their influence.
Exactly. But, it backfires spectacularly.
Little time.
The Freemen see it as a betrayal. And
Chani, man, she is fierce.
She represents Paul's connection to his humanity, to his Freeman roots.
And she sees how this power, this prescience, it's tearing him apart.
She begs him, you belong to us.
But a part of him, I think, already belongs to something else, to something much larger and scarier.
And then you have Alia, his sister.
Another prescient one. But she's different.
Oh yeah, much more volatile.
It's like she can't control it. This power is consuming her from the inside out.
Remember that scene where she's sparring naked in her training room?
Yeah, it's intense.
It's just a raw display of power, but also vulnerability. She's a walking time bomb, just waiting to explode.
And then, of course, you've got the Tleilaxu and their little gift for Paul.
Yeah.
Hate.
Duncan, Idaho, back from the dead, sort of.
Talk about a mind trip.
Oh,
Your best
right.
friend, your sword master, resurrected as a clone?
A Gola. But it's not as simple as it seems.
Oh, no, nothing with the Tleilaxu ever is.
And then Hate drops that bombshell line. They intend me to destroy you.
Chills. Every single time. It's like, boom. The whole story just takes this dark, ominous turn.
Because you realize this isn't just about a resurrected friend. This is about manipulation, about hidden agendas.
This is about playing with fire.
And Paul, he knows it. He's walking a tightrope surrounded by enemies.
And even his own people are starting to doubt him. Like Stilgar.
Yeah, that line of his, there are things hidden from you, is super telling.
It's like he's saying, you're not the same Paul we followed into the desert. You've changed.
You've become something else.
And that's the big question, isn't it? What has Paul become?
And can he escape the fate that seems to be closing in on him from all sides?
Okay, so we left off with Paul, like totally boxed in.
Surrounded by enemies.
Right. But he's still got that prescience thing going for him.
True, but remember...
Not a magic bullet, right?
Exactly. The future is always in motion. Even Paul can't predict everything with perfect accuracy.
And on top of all that, he's got Chani.
who desperately wants a child.
An heir.
Right, to secure the dynasty.
But Paul, he's hesitant.
He knows the risks.
Any child he has with Chani.
Will inherit that same prescience.
That same burden.
It's a double-edged sword.
So you can see why he's torn.
Of course.
But Chani, she's not giving up.
No, she's a Freeman woman.
Strong-willed.
Fiercely independent.
And she decides to take matters into her own hands.
She goes to a wise woman.
An old Freeman mystic.
And this woman suggests a risky solution.
Consuming a massive dose of spice essence.
Hoping to trigger a pregnancy.
It's a huge gamble.
Extremely dangerous.
Paul had actually forbidden her from doing it.
He knew the potential consequences.
Messing with spice like that.
It's playing with fire.
But Chani, she's desperate.
And she's willing to risk everything.
For a child.
And tragically,
It leads to her death.
during childbirth,
It's a gut punch.
Paul loses the woman he loves.
The one person who truly understood him,
It's a devastating blow.
both personally and politically.
His enemies see it as weakness.
An opportunity to strike.
And that's where Otham comes in,
The bitter freeman.
who blames Paul for everything,
For betraying their traditions.
for becoming too powerful.
And he thinks he's selling his pet dwarf to
Dire, but it's all a setup.
a trap.
Bijaz isn't just a dwarf,
He's a human distrance.
a walking databank.
And he carries the names of all the conspirators.
So Paul, he feels obligated to meet with Otham
To hear him out.
to maintain the illusion of unity.
And as he's leaving Otham's hovel,
Goo.
a stone burner explodes.
Blinding him.
And several of his guardsmen
It's a calculated attack,
designed to cripple him.
both physically and symbolically.
They've taken away his sight,
But they've also struck at his prescience.
his ability to see the future.
It's like Herbert's using blindness as a metaphor.
For Paul's loss of control.
His vulnerability.
He's still this godlike figure
But now he's also a man who can be hurt.
who can be broken.
And yet, even blind, he doesn't give up.
He keeps issuing orders.
Rallying his troops.
He even promises to provide new eyes for the men who are blinded,
It's a power move.
showing his strength.
His compassion.
But it's also a subtle message to his enemies.
Don't underestimate me.
I am still in control.
I can still see.
But the loss of his vision, it changes him.
It forces him to confront his inner demons.
His doubts.
His fears.
And he finds solace in Chani,
They spend a night together.
not knowing it will be their last.
They talk about Irulan's desire for a child.
And Paul reassures Chani
That he loves her.
that they'll have a family.
But unbeknownst to him,
Chani has already taken that spice essence.
she's pregnant.
And soon, she gives birth.
To twins.
A boy and a girl.
But the strain is too much.
She dies.
Paul is heartbroken.
Devastated.
He's lost the love of his life.
And he blames himself
Not seeing it coming.
for not being able to prevent it.
It's a cruel twist of fate.
And it leads Paul to a profound realization.
He can't control everything.
He can't escape his destiny.
He has to surrender to the flow of time.
And that's when he says to Alia, "Tell me, little sister, what is before?"
It's a powerful moment.
He's letting go,
Embracing the unknown.
but his enemies,
They see his grief as weakness.
they think their time has come
His strike.
to seize control.
They're ready to replace Paul with their own puppet ruler.
A Tleilaxu-controlled Gula.
They believe they've won.
But they've underestimated Paul.
Even blind.
He's still playing the game,
And he's got a few tricks up his sleeve.
like Hate,
The ghoul.
who's been struggling with his own identity,
Torn between his implanted memories
and his Tleilaxu conditioning.
and Bijaz, the dwarf Distran.
He plays a key role,
He taunts hate.
reminding him of his past life as Duncan, Idaho,
Trying to trigger his programming.
to turn him against Paul,
But it backfires.
spectacularly.
Bijaz's manipulations actually help hate break free.
He starts to question his purpose,
His loyalty. His very existence.
and this leads to a confrontation.
Between hate and Bijaz.
Hate demands the truth,
About his mission.
and Bijaz, arrogant and foolish.
Reveals the entire conspiracy.
The plan to assassinate Paul.
To replace him with a puppet.
He thinks he's won,
That hate will obey his programming.
but he's wrong.
Dead wrong.
This revelation,
It awakens hate's conscience.
his loyalty to Paul.
He chooses to protect Paul, even if it means defying his creators.
And in a stunning turn of events,
Hate exposes the conspiracy.
he reveals the names of all those involved.
To Paul,
It's a moment of truth.
a clash between control and freedom.
And Paul, Despite his blindness,
Despite his grief,
he acts decisively.
he uses his power
His influence
to crush the conspiracy.
to destroy his enemies,
He secures his grip on the Imperium.
but at a terrible cost.
He's lost Chani,
His vision,
perhaps even his humanity,
he's become the tyrant he always feared.
ruling through fear and manipulation,
He's won the battle.
but lost himself.
Oh, now what?
Now we enter the final act of Dune Messiah.
All right, so here we are. Paul's won, but man, at what cost? He's lost, like, everything.
He's at the peak of his power, emperor of a vast imperium,
Yeah, but he's alone, blind, grieving.
and burdened by the knowledge of the future.
It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So what does he do? I mean, if I could see the future, I'd probably, like, try to win the lottery or something.
Well, Paul's not interested in personal gain. He's always been driven by this sense of duty.
To humanity.
Exactly. He sees his prescience as a responsibility.
A heavy one, for sure.
And in this final act of Dune Messiah, he makes a decision that really surprised me, to be honest.
Yeah, I was blown away. He decides to walk into the desert.
To embrace the Furman tradition of abandoning the blind.
To die, basically. But why?
It's a complex act. On one level, it's a rejection of his imperium, of all the trappings of power.
Like he's saying, I never wanted this.
Exactly. He's reclaiming his Fremen identity, choosing to die as one of them.
But there's got to be more to it than that. I mean, he's got kids now, twins. He's got Alia, the Imperium, to think about.
You're right. It's also a strategic move. Remember, Paul can see the future, but only along certain paths.
So by choosing to die, he's breaking free from those paths.
He's creating a future that even he can't foresee.
It's like a giant cosmic chess move.
Exactly. And in his final moments, he says to Tandis, "Now I am free."
Man, those words give me chills every time. It's so sad, but also kind of hopeful.
He's free from the burden of prescience, from the weight of the Imperium.
He's found peace, in a way.
But what about everyone else? What about Alia?
She's the one left holding the bag, right? The regent, responsible for Paul's kids, for the future of the Imperium.
And as we know, Alia is a bit of a wild card.
Understatement to the century. She's got all that power, but no control.
Her prescience is a force that could either save or destroy everything Paul built.
Yikes. Talk about pressure.
And that, my friend, is where Dune Messiah leaves us.
Hanging on a cliffhanger. What happens next? Does Alia rise to the challenge? Do the twins fulfill their destiny? So many questions.
Well, that's the beauty of the Dune universe, isn't it? It keeps us asking questions, keeps us thinking.
It's not a neat little package with all the answers tied up in a bow.
It's messy, it's complex, it's challenging.
Just like life.
Exactly. And that's why Dune Messiah continues to resonate with readers decades later. It's not just a sci-fi adventure, it's a reflection on power, on destiny, on what it means to be human.
So, yeah, we've talked about a lot today. The political machinations, the philosophical questions, the characters.
Numerical themes.
Right. The transformation of Arrakis. There's just so much packed into this one book.
It's a masterpiece of world building, of storytelling.
But if I had to pick one thing that really stuck with me, it's that final image of Paul walking into the desert,
Choosing his own fate.
breaking free from the chains of prescience. It's both tragic and incredibly powerful.
It's a reminder that even in a universe seemingly governed by fate, we still have the power to choose.
And those choices have consequences, sometimes huge ones.
And so, we come to the end of our deep dive into Dune Messiah. I hope you've enjoyed the journey.
I know I have. But this is just the beginning, folks. There's so much more to explore in the Dune universe. So go out there, read the books, watch the movies, and keep those conversations going.
And don't be afraid to challenge your own assumptions, to question what you think you know.
Because that's what Frank Herbert would have wanted. He wanted us to think, to question, to imagine. And that's what we've tried to do here today.
So thank you for joining us.
Keep those spice flowing, and we'll see you next time.